Take on Texas A&M this Saturday night. And it could be a game where there's craziness in the air. One head coach going out, another head coach coming in. Whispers have become yells and screams of terror and madness about the identity of that new head coach. But it's definitely not going to be A&M's Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo coming into LSU with an offense, 400 yards per game on offense. Okay. Only about 190, 195 through the air. You got an offense that is very one-dimensional coming into Death Valley. They have an 8-3 record, of course. They took down Alabama, dropped 41 points on Alabama. But I think LSU with an even half decent offense could have dropped 41 on Alabama this year too. Unbelievably inept offense from LSU, facing up against a terribly inept defense from Pete Golding. It was just Will Anderson was an absolute beast on the day, like he's been all season. It was a great defensive battle out there against Alabama. With A&M and Alabama, it was just a shootout because Alabama could not stop their run game. LSU, allowing Alabama 6 rushing yards, confronting and shutting down Florida's number 1 per average run game to below 4. I think it was below 3. I think it was 3.6 per carry against Florida. Holding their leading rusher to 37 yards and no rusher over, I believe it was 37 in that game. So, this defense has improved rushing-wise. We cut down Arkansas's rushing average by 100 yards, held them to something like 140-something when they've been averaging 244, I think it was. And so LSU's greatly improved defensively against the run. Will that continue against A&M? If it doesn't, LSU will have a long night against Isaiah Spiller. Isaiah Spiller, his numbers kind of match Ty Davis Price's in a way. 984 yards, 6 touchdowns. He does have the 189 receiving yards. But yeah, Spiller, he's had a great year. He's someone who can absolutely carve up LSU. Okay. He's someone, if given the time, given the space, especially with these little dump-offs, we're expecting to run so much because here's the thing. They don't just have Spiller. They have Devon Achane, who's just, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Achane. 861 for him, 9 touchdowns coming from him, and he has the same exact receiving yard total as Isaiah Spiller, 189, 1 touchdown as well. He's averaging 9.9 per catch. Okay, these guys are big play, big impact guys. LSU has to shut them down. Micah Baskerville, Damone Clark, they're going to have to be patrolling with the same bloodlust for tackles that they've had all season long. A&M, they're not going to, Zach Calzada is not going to kill LSU through the air, even with Dwight McGlothern and Cordell Flott at corner. That's just not going to happen. And if it does, LSU are greatly underplaying because their leading receiver has 491 yards and 4 touchdowns. They have a couple guys over 200. I think it was 2 other guys. But besides the explosive plays from the running backs, they're getting nothing in the receiving game. 8 total touchdowns from their receivers. Oh, wait, no. There's this Anais Smith, 472. He's got 6. So, 10, 11, 14. So, they got 14 total from their receivers. 14 total. Okay. Keyshawn Butte had 9 himself. Our freshmen haven't been putting up too many. I think they've got like 3 each. LSU's offense has been inept. We know that. LSU's offense going against the Texas A&M defense, though. I think LSU's defense is going to be, LSU's offense. I think LSU's defense is going to be in fine fettle. I think they're going to be all over the place, hungry. Jay Ward leading the teams now with 2 picks. He's going to be looking for the ball. He's going to be like that third corner, kind of a rover in that free safety. He's going to have that the freedom to jump those routes from Durante Jones, jump those plays for those tackles like he has. I think this team, you're going to see them give a lot for this game because this is a lot of guys' final game in Tiger Stadium. Final game as a Tiger, unless we can make a bowl game. Across the board, Damone Clark, he's going to the NFL. Cordell Flott, he's going to the NFL. Jay Ward, he might return for another year. This could be Jay Ward's last game. Neil Farrell Jr., senior, this is his last game. Glenn Logan. There's so many of these 2019 guys who were there for the 2018 74-72 game. They were there for the Burra game where Joe just went to town, 55-7, and you come into this game, after last year where Max Johnson and Terrace Marshall save us from a shutout. You had an amazing Kayshon Boutte touchdown that was wiped off the board unfairly. Completely ridiculous phantom call there. But, coming into 2021, what are we going to see? What are we going to see from this LSU offense? What can they conjure against Jimbo Fisher? Max Johnson at 300 yards last game. Jack Bech got a little banged up. What can this offense do? How can this offense figure it out? Ty Davis Price is still going big on the ground. 86 yards last game. He is, I believe, 919 yards on the season. He is an 81-yard performance away from a 1,000-yard season. The first back at LSU to have a 1,000-yard season since Clyde in 2019. He's another guy. Is he a guy who could be going to the NFL? There's so many of these guys who it's like this is their final stand. I think they're going to give it all. I mean, even on offense, I think it doesn't matter what type of ridiculousness Jake Peetz and this offensive staff want to get into. I think that they're going to have things go the right way. I think they're going to make sure LSU competes hard. I think you're going to see a fiery team on both sides of the ball. I think this offense, if it can figure out the short passing game and just start going into the hurry-up mode more, playing with more tempo, using more of these pre-snap motions, using these bunch formations. Why don't we use the bunch formation? It's almost unguardable, especially these Texas A&M DBs have not been they've had a lot of broken up passes. I think they've had 36 broken up passes, 35 on the season. That's a ton. These guys can test for the ball, but at the same time, can they really shut down Jack Bech? Not if you put him in the right matchups. Can they shut down the speed of Malik Neighbors? Not if you put him in the right matchups. Can they shut down the height of Brian Thomas in the red zone? Not in the right matchups. We've got to expose these matchups, at least for this game. Finish it strong. Finish the season strong here. Beat the damn Aggies. It's going to be ugly at times, I feel. It's going to be a war of attrition. There's so many of these guys, though, who are going to give everything out there. And I just feel like, you can't underestimate the heart of the Tigers. Sure, yeah, they're playing for Coach O, a part of them. This is the final game of the Coach O era, but they're also playing for their legacy as Tigers, A lot of these guys went through so much stuff. Every side of being a Tiger, every side. From the greatest to the absolute lowest. And here they are at this playing for pride moment, and we'll see. I'm going to predict LSU eke this one out, 26-21. I'm not 100% on who's going to be available for the game and what I can reveal, what I can't say about certain players. I'm not sure if I should even go into a prediction thing, except with Max, I'm going to say Max drops a 300-yard game, throws at least 3 touchdowns. I think Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors catch some. Hopefully Jack Besh can get involved in this offense, and they can really look for him finally and get him something like 12, 13 catches or something. Let Jack go off in this game. On defense, hopefully Sage Ryan, Mason Smith can appear. It's up in the air with Sage. He's sick. It's up in the air with Mason Smith with his injury. But let's hope we can see the 2 5-star freshmen perform in the bright lights. And, hopefully we're going to create some turnovers here, I think. Jaquelin Roy, I think he's going to pick up a sack and a half here. I think Cordell Flott's going to get another interception. I think Jay Ward's going to have a few batted passes, maybe a forced fumble. I think there's going to be a lot of tackles for loss here for LSU. Isaiah Spiller, he'll probably eke out a 90-yard game or something. A Shane could kill us off the edge for a few touchdowns or whatever. I think all in all, this defense is going to be sick, twisted, and ready. I think you're going to see Damone Clark rack up like a 14-tackle night. I think he's going to be like absolute just beast of the covenant. I think you're going to see some mad, stark, raving Tigers, just lunatic Tigers out there. This is so many of these guys' last game. I think you're going to see guys like Ed Ingram, Austin Deculus, Liam Shanahan, guys who it's going to be their last game, really give everything on that offensive line. And I hope I'm right. I hope LSU can pull this out 26-21, get us into bowl eligibility and secure that bowl. And, go Tigers. Let's kick some Aggie ass. Let's go.